So, good morning, everybody.
Good
Welcome to the
morning.
Best Missouri Hands Professional Development Workshop Series. We are focusing on artist studio tours this year, and it has been a blast. And I'm excited for today. We've got Catherine Mahoney of Colorful Brushes in Herman, Missouri, with us today. She's been a longtime member, and Lisa Hilton of Lisa Hilton Artists. She's a sculptor, and you're in the St. Louis area, right, Lisa? Okay, so we've got both of these ladies that have been generous of their time and going to share their studios with us today. So welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Catherine, I met you back in like 2011, I think, at my very first art show, and I saw your banner, and I was like, "Oh, that looks awesome! I got to find out what a juried artist is." And you explained it to me, and I that's why I became a member. So, um, you're the first Best Missouri Hands member artist I ever met. So glad to have you here. I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us a little background, and whenever you're ready for the video, just let me know. We'll open it up for question and answers afterwards. So anybody's got, questions for Catherine and stuff, and then we'll follow her up with Lisa. So kick
All
it
right.
off, Catherine.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Kim. When you were talking about meeting together and showing together in 2011 here in Herman, I had been interested in trying to determine when I was actually a member and joined. And so you just said that I was a juried artist in 2011. So that answers something right here. That changes my whole answer of what I thought I was going to say, because I was a member, probably one of the first two-dimensional artists that was accepted as a member. I remember that when I first tried, at least for 2 years, it wasn't possible. No two-dimensional artist was accepted that did painting.
Wow.
They might have done windows or glass or something like that, but nothing that was painting. So I am more of a um, foundation person than you thought.
Yeah,
But
that's
because
fantastic.
because I know you, think how much you have given to the organization that it all turned out so well. And I'm so thrilled to be here today because it does my heart good to have friends across the board in the art world. And one thing I can
Mhm.
say about the artist is that you can trust them with anything, right? You can lay your diamond ring down and it will come
Yeah.
back to you. So I love you all, and I'm really glad to be here today. So I am a professional studio oil painter, plein air artist, and we discussed that I was from Herman, Missouri. It's located about an hour west of St. Louis on the Missouri River. Now, this is my third medium that I have studied in depth. And we're going to go back to the 60s here. But in between time of the oils, which I started in about 2011 or 2012, again, I loved it in college, but I only took one semester of it. So I did not know what I was doing when I started back with my oils. In between times, I painted watercolor. And so I have a few initials after my name, and all of those initials has to do with painting watercolors. And I have not really shown watercolors since I've been more active in the plein air. Um, and I before that, in the 60s and 70s, now that's going back a ways, I did batiking, and it was done on cloth, with hot wax and dye. And I did pictorial batiks, which was, as far as I know, there was only one other artist in the entire United States that did pictorial batiks. Now, this was the 70s, so it was hippies, and we had lots of dresses that were done with tie-dye. But there was not, batiking was something else in its own self. And so I have enjoyed over the years teaching students here in Herman, as well as my own private classes that I taught over the years. batiking. So all of you who know anything about the 70s and what we were good at tie-dyeing and batiking, you're good to know it's still going on because I love it and I do teach it quite often. So in between
Hey,
time,
Catherine,
uh-huh.
can I ask you for a second? Just, I'm not exactly sure that I know exactly what batiking is. Is that with wax?
Yes.
Uh,
Uh, when you see my video, you're going to see some batiks that are in there. And it's of two horses, and it's done with hot wax, dye, and
okay,
cloth. So it's negative. The dye is accepted where there is no wax. And if you want
okay,
to do pictorial batiks, you have to have it open so it holds the dye. You start with light dyes, progress to darker dyes. And when you see it, I generally limited my values to three, which is, I'm going to say it was the best thing I could have ever done to paint because I mean, I just operate that way. I think of three values and I think of dark and I think of light and anything in between is middle to me. So I still use it today in my painting, that's for sure. And so I just
thank you.
started to say that, and Kim's familiar with this too because she's produced a book, or two. She's getting ready to do two, right?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
So I have two authors here that live in Herman, and I have produced the illustrations for those two authors in three different books. One of them is
Mhm.
completely sold out, but we share hats, Kim and I. We know all about how to lay out things now. We know how to put words into paintings. We know how to do, in your case, photography. Mine's paintings. I did watercolor, edge to edge watercolors for these books and have enjoyed quite success with it. It's been really fun, and you meet such wonderful people that way. But anyway, getting
I,
on to my painting that you're going to see in this video, you're going to see that I have many interests: landscape and riverscapes, figurative. But each piece that I do emphasizes two things: texture, either it's actual texture or painted like texture. So it's simulated, or it's been done with a palette knife so it really has texture. I mean, you can put your hands on it and feel it that way. Or the light falling on something that has texture. And we all have texture. So I just love it. And I look for the story that's about the subject that I'm doing and try to portray that story in my paintings so that it has a heart appeal, I think is what I would say. So in this video, you're going to see that I filmed it in the end of January when snow was still on the ground. I was getting ready to go to the winter retreat, plein air artist retreat that was going to be held at Savannah, Georgia and Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I knew that I was getting ready for this show. And the other big thing going on in my studio, when you see it there, is that I had a large 5 foot commission I was working on. So I was really busy. And I knew if I didn't get the video done before I left, it wasn't going to happen. So that's why you still get to go back and see January 31st, snow on the ground. So, we were talking about some of these earlier works of mine, you're going to see the retrospective show. Some of those pieces are up on the wall. Now they're all down off the wall on the ground. You can't hardly walk through my studio. And that's another reason why I wanted to have it filmed earlier. And I think that's about it. If there's anything that comes up, ask me some questions at the end and enjoy. I know I enjoyed talking to all of you who are on now. We've got a few more. Thanks for joining.
yeah. Well, Catherine, everybody on here is very well educated about art, but we are recording this. It's going to go on YouTube. And I will tell you what, you introduced me to a term that I didn't know when I first started. I had no idea. Plein air. Could you just give an explanation? I know it now. I know you and some other artists and stuff, but could you just kind of give a explanation of what plein air is, since you also do
Well,
that?
I'm a kind of a historian about this too. Plein air has been enjoyed by artists forever. I mean, going outside and being the eye tickle eye candy that is outside and trying to produce it on a two-dimensional form has always been a challenge. And it was a form, it's a French word that means simply outside. So you go outside to paint. And when you're out there, you deal with wind, sun, bugs, mud,
Mm.
rain, snow, sleet. I mean, it's not the, there's nothing wrong with being a studio painter. I am a studio painter, but I have always loved plein air. And I started it when I was in college. So it's been going on. But it is now a well-known art form, and it has just grown exponentially. I can't believe how many people are. When we get to go to our groups and paint like this, we have people from all over the world that come to these events and paint. We're getting ready to have one in Pace that's going to be in Branson, and that's going to take place in May too. So if you're interested in it, just enter the letters PACE, and you are welcome to come. It's a
Okay.
conference.
So and normally so like plein air is what I've seen is there's like um a town will hold a plein air event.
Yes,
And so artists, like you said, from all over come in and they have locations where normally the artists will set up. Because I know there's one coming up where they're going to be on an alpaca farm and they'll paint whatever they choose to. And at the
yes.
end of it, you sell your artwork normally. They have people come in to buy the artwork and stuff. Is
Yes,
that what
that's
happens sometimes?
that is often the way it happens, and sometimes it runs for
Okay.
a week, and they have different venues that they go to and paint daily, and the artwork is for sale all the time. It can be purchased right off of your easel, but you can
Nice.
save it right and put it into your show at the end of the week or day or whatever it happens to be, and everyone's invited, of course, to come and see the show. And if you're interested, to purchase it. Mhm.
Okay. And so plain air also is a simpler because you're only have hours or whatever or a couple days. It's not like you're getting to sit down and work on this painting, for 40 hours, weeks, right? So they're
I
they're a little looser.
yes, I think you have hit the nail on the head. The sun moves every 15 minutes. The shadow is different on your subject. So you need to
Wow.
I mean, there's a little bit of hint. You need to lay in your shadow first thing before you even create the form. Remember when I was talking about the batik and that it's
Hmm.
going to have dyes of dark, middle, and light? You put those darks in for your shadow of a building or a barn or whatever. Anyway, that is the side that's going to be dark in your painting. And so you have to, you cannot follow the shadows, in other words, because by the time you get done with the day, the sun's on the other side, you know?
Right.
So the sun is going to be casting the shadow a different direction. So, yes, that is the challenge as well as
Yeah.
being in the middle
Absolutely.
of all of nature. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
You're
All
welcome.
right, folks. I
Everybody's
guess
invited.
I will try to I will share let's see if we can get Catherine's video up here. And let me see if I can get a full size. Hmm. Can you all see that? I want to get it full size if I can. Are you being able to see her video though? Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and play it. I don't know why I can't get it.
Welcome to my studio. This is 1058 Stonehill Highway. Kim, we can't hear the sound. And now there's no picture. There we go. Could we start it over?
Kim, you're
Stonehill
Yes,
muted.
High.
now.
So when you
And we
muted
are on the
yourself,
walkway
Kim,
leading
you
out to
muted
my
the video.
studio. It's a
Kim, you can't mute yourself because that shuts the video off. You've got to leave yourself on off of on Kim, unmute yourself.
leading out to my studio. It's a beautiful snowy day, as you can see. This is a beautiful transition place to be able to overwinter my plants. And we are now entering into the gallery of the studio. And on this wall, you can see paintings, examples of my paintings from 1966 up to the present time. Many of them have been painted on location, and some of them, of course, are studio paintings. And I have situated here a wonderful stairway that lends itself to holding up the banisters, holding up my prints. And as I get ready to go to shows, I can choose and select them. One of the things that I've painted over the years has been portraits that tell stories. This is a painting of David from the Maasai tribe, and he is a prince. I painted this in my studio when I was located on 4th Street in Herman, Missouri. And over the years, I've painted paintings of my grandchildren as well when they were, starting at the age of about 3 years old. This little fellow right now is a father of 2 children. So this has been some time ago. And he and I painted this painting together when he was younger. I've taught here in Herman, Missouri to students in the summertime for years. And the painting that's at the top right here is one of the paintings that I painted after I came home from Russia in 1993. Just as the communism wall was breaking down, it was an exciting time to go. I've painted on location with oils. The top one is Forest Park. The second one down is Door County. Door County has been one of my favorite places to paint. I love to paint outside and on location. And so this painting that is right here is a painting that was awarded a nice award from Arkansas, and they had their bicentennial as a state. I'll go along and give you a little closer look at some of these paintings. It's taller than I am, so these are going to be out of perspective. Here is another one that is painted in oils after I came home from the same trip to Russia. However, this painting was attributed to Moldova. This interesting fellow here is Dave Luddig. He was owner of a gallery here in Herman over the years past. He was a hunter, and on his head is his hat of a skunk. This is Hawaii up here. Door County. And my husband, before we were married, this was painted in 1968. We were married in 1969. He's actually resting in the other room when we get into the actual working space. This is Kansas in the Flint Hills, Forest Park, when they were having a car show. I painted this in plein air, those last two that you saw. This is actually one of my husband's photographs. This is a studio painting of Dallas, Texas. Been blessed to have made many trips, and so you will see some that have been painted from Jamaica right here. And this is Lake Superior, Door County, St. Charles, Missouri River, Lake Superior again. And my one and only wood sculpture. And now we'll turn and go in to see the rest of my studio. And here are paintings of my grandchildren again, and one of my old batiks that was done in the 70s after I moved here to Herman. And this is one of my more recent oils. This is depicting the ferns in Pennsylvania. Here he is, he's awake. Say hello, Mike.
Hello.
I'm making a recording for the Best of Missouri Hands of my studio. So it has been a wonderful space. This was actually added on to our house in 1999 when after my dad had passed away, and below us is my mother's apartment when she was living with us here after that. And you can see my Christmas tree that never does come down. However, this is surrounded now with my plein air paintings. And this stack right here is of my watercolors from years past. I've done a few prints over the years. So this is a print of the painting that you saw in the outside of His Praises Sing. That is from Russia. I've recently gone to Hawaii and to California to see the Pacific. And on the way out there, I saw the parks, and I've been to both coasts in the last 2 years. So here are some paintings that I did at the Saranac Lake that is out in the East Coast. This is Augusta. And this is one of my studio paintings that I have just finished recently too. This is of Olympic National Park. Many plein airs sitting around. So I've been getting ready for my retrospective art show that's going to be held in Kirksville, Missouri, where I graduated from college. I actually went to school at La Plata, Missouri, which was just 13 miles south of there. So it's really nice that I'm going to be having my retrospective at Kirksville. So you can see on the floor here some of my paintings that I'm just now working on, getting ready for that show. And you can also see when we get around to this side, that there is a 5-foot long painting now being actively painted on my easel. So I do certainly paint commissions. And this is going to hang eventually in the Gasconade County Records and Archives building, which is actually this building right here, and it isn't finished yet. This is the second large piece that I've probably been known for. Before this, I painted a 20-foot long, 5-foot tall mural that's located in the Gasconade County Courthouse here in Herman. So we will go back and I'll show you my workspace. Framing and matting, boxing and watercolors, and my work table. This is my eldest granddaughter here. So this is the first portrait that I did. And after that, I painted all of the grandchildren that size. And I just finished painting the last painting for my youngest granddaughter and gave it to her for Christmas. So I really appreciated having this time to be able to share my studio. And of course, anyone's welcome at any time to come and visit.
Is that it? That was awesome. I am sorry that I messed up the video at the beginning, but very, very nice job, Catherine. Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
need a whole gallery. You need a whole gallery. You need to get all those pieces up and hung. You have got a body of work.
Yes, that's true. And it is going to have the first showing that's coming up, of course, in Kirksville. And we can, I know you're going to post that up that later, but I'm really excited about it. And I look at all of those things and wondering if I can get it all in one van. I hope I can.
I think you need one of those semi-moving, a semi truck for moving. You got a lot of artwork. A
Yes,
lot. That's amazing.
thank you very much. I really have enjoyed it. My life's been a lot of joy. I just have to say that right up front. And I really do hope it shows up on my paintings so that people can catch the joy and the story on the other side.
How do you keep track? Because I know like with me that I travel to different farms to photograph the animals and stuff like that. And I find myself sometimes like, okay, what town was that farming in? And you knew like Hawaii and the Doors County and stuff. How do you keep track of that?
Well, I don't know. I have been keeping a record. I write it down, but I must say I don't write it down very consistently, very quickly. So I do keep it in my head, for quite a while. And each one of them when I choose something to paint, it means something to my heart. So I guess it's imprinted inside of me and it just comes out. I do know that there was one mistake on one of those paintings, though, that I said I painted in Texas and it was actually painted in New Mexico. So, but it at least was in the West.
Yeah. Now on the backs of them, do you write what county or country you were in?
Very
Do you
few
write that
of
on the
them.
back?
Very
Okay.
few of them have it written on the back because it was in or on canvas. And I find that hard to write on. Now, I have kept it in many forms since I started creating in the 60s. We had no computers, so we had lots of cards in index boxes, or a file cabinet, or, just writing it in a notebook, whatever way you chose to keep it. And I'm so glad that I actually have kept all of those records because when it came to this retrospective show, I could double check dates mainly dates, but I knew mostly where they were, but dates were
Mhm.
another thing. hmm So
Well,
I
that's awesome.
thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Is there anybody else that has any questions?
Mhm. Unmute yourself if you'd like to ask.
just put a quick one in the chat. But Catherine, thank you so much. This was such a great tour. It's beautiful, beautiful space. And I absolutely loved seeing this body of work of yours that has been building over all this time. I mean, how amazing is that? My question to you, did you go to college for art? Was that your focus when you went to college?
Yes, we haven't said yet where my retrospective is going to be. I said it in the video, but it's going to be in Kirksville. And I did go at that time, it was the Northeast Missouri State Teachers College. And now it's Truman University. It's changed names 4 times. And I went to high school 13 miles south of there at La Plata. And my address was Atlanta, which was another few miles down the road. So, and I was in 4-H, so I showed things in cattle in Macon. So I have had a big, broad spans of Northeast Missouri times, and it's wonderful that my paintings are going to go back there for the show. I really appreciate the fact that they wanted me to come.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations to you and bravo. You're quite an inspiration.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I appreciate that.
Barbara? Yeah, and
Yeah,
don't
I
worry
have a
about time,
question.
guys. If we run over, that's fine. We're gonna keep with this. We're gonna let Lisa have all her time in it. So if you have questions, go ahead.
Well, my question is, and again, I'm just amazed at how much you're prolific.
Hmm.
I don't know how else to say it. That's a lot of work. But you had mentioned this retrospective, but do you have your work hanging in other galleries like around Herman?
Um, we have a really kind of a fun story. Kim and I go back on this, so she knows the history about it. There is an antique store that's located on First Street in Herman, Missouri, but for years it was an art gallery. And my space, I still have it. It's in the antique store, but people who have known me for a long time still go in there and look for it. And I still contain the same space. So I have work there. We did have another little gallery that is no longer showing work for others. She's doing classes, but it's not a gallery anymore. My studio is open at anyone who wants to come. They can come and look at, purchase, or whatever they'd like to do anytime. Just need a head up, a call on that before well, just to make sure I'm here. As you can see, I travel a lot and I also go in the country a lot on travels to paint. So we just want to make sure I'm here. But I welcome anybody. I'm happy to show them in it, and I don't expect a purchase. You can always come and look and just enjoy. I think that's part of the joy of sharing, isn't it? You have this need to paint, but you also want to see the appreciation of others, whether they purchase it or not. If they love it, that's enough, isn't it? It's wonderful to hear the comments.
Thank you. I think I
And
will
Catherine?
contact you about that.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Who
And Catherine, I don't know if you've got your paintings there or not, but don't you have at least your books at Framations in St. Charles and at Missouri Life Mercantile and Rocheport?
I never finished, did I? Yes, I have my books at Formations, and I have artwork at Codner Art Gallery, which is in nearby Clayton. And let's see, at Rocheport, I have a few pieces of the Missouri River. I'm getting ready to have another show in Columbia in September about my history dealing with the Missouri River. My 13th generation ago great grandfather, Josiah Dixon, fought in the Revolutionary War, and he settled across the river, the Missouri River, from Daniel Boone. But they had a history like this when they were fighting in the Revolutionary War. And I have letters from Daniel Boone, George Rogers Clark, and his son, what would it be, 12th great grandfather ago. It was all boys down to me. And I just found out about this in the 90s. So I didn't even know. I settled on the Missouri River, and that is my heritage. So I've been painting up and down the Missouri River for all of these years. So I'm having that
Wow.
show in Columbia in September.
At what gallery or what space?
Oh,
We're at in Columbia.
it's in the Columbia Art League Art Gallery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's uh, let's see, I can't recall that address right now, but it's easy to find. You just
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody knows the Columbia Art League. They're one of
right.
our longtime members, and we just had an exhibit there for Best Missouri Hands artists last year. So
Oh,
yeah,
good.
we'll get the information shared and everything, your dates and stuff. And I've got the other information you sent, so that will go with the post I'll do later today and up on YouTube and stuff. So we'll
Okay.
definitely get that information shared.
That'll be fine.
Anyone else have a question? All right. Catherine, before we go over to Lisa, there's one thing that we've kind of start asking our studio artists. When you're now probably not outside, you're listening to sounds of nature, but when you're in your studio at your home, when you're painting, do you have the TV on or do you listen to music or do you just like silence? What do you like? How do you like to create?
Well, I have always painted in silence. I have a mind that is thinking like 3 steps ahead of what I'm doing. And if I don't
Mhm.
keep it, in my head and not listening and concentrating on something else, I will mess up. So I just don't do it. That's
Okay.
the honest truth.
All right. That makes sense. Makes sense. Well, you did a wonderful job. Thank you for sharing with us, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
doing this.
very,
And whoever's
yeah.
ideas it was, we shared it this morning, but I can't remember who did it. Was it
Yep,
Lisa?
Lisa. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Great.
No, it was a group idea. The power of the
Yeah,
group.
she kind of planted the seed. We've talked about it before and just never really got anything too organized. And after she said that, it's like, you know what? That this is wonderful. And we've got we've got Zoom, so perfect.
Yes,
So,
it's great.
you know, but bravo, bravo. Nice
I'll
job.
I'll turn my mute off.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about I didn't even think about muting myself and it muting the video. I apologize for that. Lisa, so excited to have you here. I remember the first time I met you, I think it was at Queenie Park Art Show, and you had a very nice display of all these sculptures and everything. But the thing that caught my eye is you had animals. You had animal heads, and I was like, oh, and you had a donkey. And so I was done. That donkey now lives here. But it just beautiful work. I loved it. And it's so kind of nice to see how you have evolved and changed over the years and grown, but staying true to your, sculptor heart. So if you would like to introduce yourself, thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. Yes, I'm Lisa. I'm a sculptor out of St. Louis. And Kim, I think we might have met even before that because you were in the emerging artist program, I think ahead of me.
Oh,
And
okay.
so met through that at the St. Louis Art Fair. But yeah, I am a relative baby compared to Catherine. And Catherine, your body of work and it's just amazing to me. And all the
Mhm.
thought and the concepts and the places and the joy. It's contagious.
Mm.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I went back to school in my 40s to get my BFA. That was not my original training, but I'd always loved art. So even the first time I went to college, every semester I took an art class if they would let me. And it was what I always wanted to do. But in high school, my took a lot of art in high school. My instructor could not tell me how to make money being an artist. So coming
Mm.
from a blue collar background, and being a scholarship person, I needed to make money. And so I did not study art, but it was always in my heart. So when my kids were in high school, I went back to school and got my BFA. And I really thought I was going to be a painter. And it was, the second to last semester, I took my first ceramics course and then I was done. I had to work in clay. There's something about 3D for me, walking around it, moving around it. I don't know. It was my medium. But my first year after I graduated, I was renting studio space here in St. Louis, and my husband, he really knew that it would be nice if I had a space that was attached to the house. And we had lots of discussions about, should it be in the basement? Should it be here? Should it be there? And his hobby is woodworking. So our garage that's attached to the house was always all of his woodworking tools on wheels. And whenever he did a project, he'd pull out the cars, bring all the tools into the middle, work, put it all back. And so he said, I want to build you a space. I said, why don't you build us both a space? So our detached garage is the lower level is his, and the upper level is mine, and it is a true functioning garage. So the floor that of the studio is made of concrete panels, so that if we ever sell the house, it can actually hold cars. Because we didn't want to build something that wouldn't be functional for whoever bought the house next. He in the studio, because he loves to do woodworking and remodeling and all of that. He did all of the rough and finish carpentry. He did the electrical. He was able to get his permit pass the test to get the permit to do the electrical because it's on his own house. Like he couldn't, so in Creve Coeur, they allow that. We started construction in 2013. It took a year. Let's see. I had a used kiln waiting in the other garage the whole time for the building to be done so that I could actually use it. And I will say it's wonderful having, as Patty knows, and maybe some of you other ones, having a handy husband and a supportive husband is amazing. I will say that I had the camera setting such that I could take in more space, so it makes the studio look bigger than it is. But I would say I have about 1,000 square feet. And so that's where I am. All right. Do I have permission to share?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it should let you.
Okay. Walk in. All right. There are a set of steps. Hold on. We were testing yesterday with Kim. All right. This is a view of my studio from my kitchen window. It's about 25 steps from my back door. When you walk in, there are a set of steps that go down to my husband's shop. I have a slab roller, and I use that because I'm mostly a hand builder, rolling out slabs. And I would tell you that the studio is pretty tidy right now, but you can see I cram things wherever I can find space. And if I can't find space, I ask my husband to build me shelves like he did here under the slab roller. I have multiple sizes of drywall board for putting slabs on. I also have central vac system, the ever-present tripod for reels and videos, a wheel that I use on occasion, but mostly it's stored like this. I have a couple of stainless steel tables. These were bought used from restaurant auctions, and my husband was kind enough to give me more horizontal storage by adding shelves. He also added wheels so that I can move them around as my needs change. This one has all of my glazes that I have mixed or bought, along with, various things for texture. I recently took a class on sculptural surfaces, and there were many assignments to that class, so these are the results. The course required that we mix and test a variety of glazes and application techniques, including painted surfaces like these on the end. Over here is a closet. my husband made for me that is on rollers. So when I change my mind about how I want to lay out the studio, it moves easily. Rigid foam on the top, it comes in handy for things. I really don't like to throw things away. I never know when I'm going to use them. So in this closet, I keep, jars that I might use for glaze tests, tapes, glues, felt for the bottom of sculptures, things I don't really want to get dusty because that can happen. And then on the other side, more foam, paint materials, my toolbox. Down on the bottom are tools that I need for plaster if I want to make a mold. If I come back to the beginning, over this way, I have all of the ingredients one could, or at least almost all the ingredients one could possibly need for mixing a glaze. I have some reference books, particularly on the figure. Test forms are intermingled with my orchids. These were a bunch of pieces that I put together to test different finishes and colors. If I had one thing to change in the studio right now, it'd be the color of this countertop. I would prefer to have it white so it doesn't compete with the color and texture of any of my pieces. Some old work that I liked, but that broke, and I just don't want to sell it. Items from nature that give me inspiration, texture, brushes, tools that I need. Down here is what we call reclaim. So as clay dries out, store it in a bucket, add water. With a few steps, you can get it back to workable consistency. And I hate wasting clay. So over this way is my sink. This was another purchase from a restaurant auction. And under the sink, you can see where the drain goes. That is a homemade clay trap because you cannot allow your clay to go into your sink trap or it will clog it, and that won't be good. I keep a bunch of extra buckets, and this is my scale that I use for measuring the ingredients for glazes. My collection of stains for coloring glazes and washes, along with various other materials that I use on a pretty frequent basis. A few drawers, because you never know when you're going to need a plastic something, and more brushes. And I don't generally use these for ceramics, but you never know what you're going to need. So I have it all. Just a plethora of things that come in handy every once in a while. All my rulers and straight edges and squares. Over this way, do have a mirror here because sometimes when I'm doing figurative work, I use myself as a reference. I was fortunate enough to have a bathroom put in so that I don't have to go into the house. Not that it's a long walk, but if I'm messy, I don't always like to go in. It's also great to use when I've been out in the yard gardening. This is a stack of clay that is yet to be used. Over here is what we call kiln furniture, and then pyrometric cones. These are used in your kiln. It's a good practice to use them for each firing, both to tell if you went to temperature and also troubleshoot if something may be going wrong with the kiln. If it falls over too far, it got too hot. If it doesn't fall over at all, it didn't get hot enough. This is what we call kiln furniture. It holds the shelves if I have more than one shelf. At this moment, I have 3 kilns, a baby kiln that I bought years ago for testing. Doesn't get used tons anymore because it's just not big enough. Then I have a medium kiln and a larger kiln. They're both the same width, but with the larger one, I can go a little taller with the work, as well as hold more things. Kilns need to be vented, and they require 220 electrical. So what happens is if I'm using one, I never run them at the same time. The exhaust from each one is interchangeable, along with I plug or unplug depending on what I'm using. More items for firing: kiln bricks, stands. These things don't get used tons, but I have them in case I need them. Over here is my wedging table. So underneath the cloth is plaster, and wedging is used for many reasons: to remove air bubbles, to wake up the clay for use, aligning the platelets, and getting consistent texture and moisture. This is my main working table. I do have a chair and I have a mess underneath, which is essentially fabric, plastic for covering. And then if I need to turn something upside down, I have foam so that I don't ruin whatever's on the top of a piece. And this table, I asked my husband to make me some drawers, so he stuck those under there. This is a door that came off of somewhere along with the legs from a restaurant auction. Over this way are more tools and my cart that I use for extra table space, and it really comes in handy for various tasks. Over this way is my sanding area. It has an exhaust. It heads out that way. And I have my Fordham that I use, and all kinds of, and this desk is modeled after a metalsmith's desk or workbench. And I have all kinds of different sanding implements. My grinder is over here. Various bits for my flex shaft with different profiles. Over here is just storage, some of my garden things, along with paint sprayer parts, additional filters, drill charging. This is a diamond sanding that I use to flatten things out. Over here is my glaze spraying booth. This was made by my husband, and it exhausts out also. So it's very loud. I'll show you. And all the glaze gets pulled out. The airborne glaze gets pulled out because breathing in glaze or ceramic dry materials is not good for the lungs because of the silica in it. I have some power tools under here. My air compressor for the glaze spring. Let's see. This is a new addition. I have a little easel set up because I'm working on a new body of work that I want to hang on the wall. So of all the things that my studio has, it doesn't have a lot of blank wall space. So I just painted myself up a scrap piece of drywall, and I'm not there with this work, but it's coming along. Over here's more shelving, more clay underneath, reference books. I subscribe to a couple of ceramic magazines, and I can't bear to throw any out. More test tiles, more. At one time I thought I wanted to go into metals, so I do have some metals tools that I keep in toolboxes underneath. I have some patina materials that I have used in the past when I've done mixed media type sculpture. And let's see. Oh, the last piece in the shop, the studio, is storage. Deep storage, things I don't use on a regular basis. A lot of test work, stuff I don't have the heart to throw out, but should. Lighting for taking images, That's my backdrop. When I want to take images, I roll it down, clamp it onto this cart. Can't think right now. And that's what I use, set up my lights, and that's what I use to take images. The windows are blacked out to help with white balance. These are my pro panels on their cart. I have extra pedestals over here. And I've had my husband build me just lots of shelving to hold work, to hold stuff. I have my tent, my electrical, a lot of stuff for showing over this way. I save boxes. I very rarely break them down. And right now they're in a pile. This is a pretty typical state of the storeroom. I always want it to be better, but I always fall short. New boxes that I bring to shows so I look more professional. Bubble wrap, booth display parts, as well as some gardening supplies. Back out in the main studio, I have an air cleaner up at the top there. When I'm mixing glazes or doing anything dusty, I do run it to clean the air. I think that's about it. I feel so very blessed to have such an amazing space and a husband who is knowledgeable and capable of executing my requests for troubleshooting equipment in the studio and overall being very supportive. Okay, there we go.
Oh, very nice. I mean, that is like an all-in-one studio. I mean, you've got everything you need right there. That is absolutely
The only thing
phenomenal.
I really have to clean well if I want to keep something, like if I'm working with papers or painting, I have to really, you know, I keep it clean, but it's dusty. It's clay.
You that the one thing that I missed in the video, I want to see one of your sculptures. I mean, you showed them fast, but I would like to see one of your sculptures. I love
Well,
your
it's
work.
funny because in the studio, the only thing I keep out are the test pieces like I showed because they make me think more. And I don't keep my real work out because it gets dusty. I'm just
Okay.
chasing the dust. And so I don't, and it was a studio tour, so I didn't put any work out. It was a real
Well,
studio.
and it makes you really realize that for artists, I mean, it's got to be a work of passion because I mean, look at the investment that you have made, that all the artists, I mean, like in Patty's tour, I mean, we all invest so much money to be able to do something that we then take to a gallery or to an art show, and people just see that piece. They don't see all the time and money and work that goes into getting that piece to them, so it's just that really was eye-opening, and that you've got your husband's built, where you can do your glazes and the spray fan, and it's he's a good husband.
Well, and he's
You
all about if I can build it and we not spend the money to buy that thing at the place, then let's build it. And I do like I could spray glazes outside, but then I could really only do that in the because you really should not breathe that in. I wear a full dust mask when even with the exhaust fan, I've got a full dust mask on when I mix glazes and when I spray glazes because you should not breathe that stuff in. And I could do it with the door open and I could do it outside, but I don't want to go out with when it's 10 degrees and I don't want to have to worry about if it's rainy. I'm spoiled.
No, well, those are not good working conditions. It's kind of hard to glaze a piece in the rain. It's just impossible. So no. Uh, yeah, and I want to ask you because I
Uh,
mean my eyes are drawn to the clouds on the wall. Is there
yeah,
a
those are
purpose? I mean, is that just something?
so the clouds were I had some posters made because my new body of work is all cloud based um and I wanted to have images in front of me of clouds so that I would constantly
Okay,
have a reference point.
yeah, very
Yeah.
nice. Does anybody have any
But then
questions for
but I
Lisa?
had to figure out how to hang them
Oh.
because it's a garage door because I have no blank wall space. So those are
Right.
by accident, those are magnets. I figured out that I could put magnets on the garage door, but I had to tell my husband, don't open it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is very inspiring. It's nice to have something in front of you like that when you're working on something that kind of triggers your inspiration. So,
Well, I often can pull it up on the computer, but I prefer like that's,
mhm,
and then it's always the screensaver comes
right.
on or whatever. It's nicer to have it in a big form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Lisa, I love it. Like, I really, really, really am so excited to see your space. I
Well,
will.
and like Catherine, I love visitors. I feel very blessed to to have the space to be able to work, to do the thing. And I love sharing it. So I'm always open to
Well,
visitors.
I will definitely be getting a hold of you because even I'm just like thinking as I'm watching your tour, I'm like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to have to show Roy this because it is, like we're constantly gathering. I mean, where we're at now, I feel like we're kind of as full as we can be, but this dream of buying property and really building up our studio, like I love your layout. My biggest envy that I have is that, so I'm guessing you have central heating and air out there in that building. Because even like when you're showing the glazes, because I'm like, I can't keep that right now. I just, have everything in my garage. But yes, I will be in contact with you because yes, I want to come see all that in person. And bravo. It's really neat to see where you work. So
Yeah,
thank you for
thank you.
doing this.
Oh, no problem. And yes, like I said, if I didn't have my husband's support and he wasn't on board with the whole thing, I'd still be renting space somewhere. And community studios are great because you have that give and take and you see what everybody's doing. But you also can't come and go. You're not in charge of the kilns. You're not in charge of, you've only got so many shelving units to store your things on, and you're not in control of the temperatures. And, I've been doing a lot of testing, and that requires time. And it would be, um, it would be horrible at a community studio to try to get that done. But yeah,
I thought
Joy,
it was funny
I,
too that that you had like
yeah.
three spaces where you got garden stuff, So it's obvious, you know, that clay and sculpture, this is the heart. But here I've got a little bag of topsoil,
Well,
that
usually at this time of the year, I have the one storage rack that's on by the glaze thing that's on wheels. I have seeds started on it, and I'm getting ready
Mm,
for gardening in the spring. And I did a lot of travel this year, and I did not want to start any seeds because I knew they would die because I was gone so much. So yeah, a lot of it's seed starting stuff and lighting for that. And because I do love to garden. Yes, playing in the mud. My husband calls it playing in the mud. It's either outside or it's inside.
yeah, yeah. Now, how about you? Do you listen to anything while you're working, or are you quiet too, like Catherine?
I do both, and it depends on my mood. So lately, I have been very quiet um, because I, like her, like it just seems like I need to really hone in. But if I'm doing something mindless, let's say not sanding because that makes too much noise, but I'm just smoothing or doing something repetitive, then I will put music on. And I have very
Right.
eclectic taste, so it's all over the place. The other thing that comes into play for me is if my husband's working downstairs, then all I'm getting is power tools. The table
Mm.
saw, the sander, and you can put in the noise canceling headphones, but you're still hearing that down below. And what's really nice is when it's a nice day like this, I don't have them open. I can work with, I turn off the whatever's heat, air, and I open both doors and then I can hear the outside. So that's nice.
Yeah, very nice. Now, how about you? Do you have your work in any galleries or you got any upcoming shows? What do you got going on?
I do not have my work in any galleries, and right now I'm in flux trying to develop this new body of work so that I can come up with, a new application because when you have a new body of work, you can't use the old setup and you can't apply to things with it. So I'm in a very much in a transition year.
Okay. Well, good for you though, that you're encompassing something, trying something new and stuff. So I think as artists, we always got to kind of, you know, work on something outside of our comfort zone and stuff. That's you know,
Well, I also think sometimes the whole idea for me of clouds has been percolating probably since I was in school. And I even did a painting back then, and they're always, they've always been there. And because this was a year where I knew I was going to be visiting the new grandbaby a lot in Boston and doing a lot of traveling, and it was going to be hard for me to get to shows, I thought this is the year that I'm going to try it because it's
mhm,
going to be, I have the space to do it.
right.
So,
Now, like Catherine, she when she goes, all these different places and stuff, she's painting in that. And you can't really take along a thing of clay and sculpt while you're elsewhere, can you? I mean,
well, I have seen clay artists that will take a bag of clay that they've already put into slabs that's small, and if they're traveling and they see some texture or something that's really cool, they'll press the clay on it to get the texture and then bring that home. So I have not gone to
mm-hmm,
that extreme yet. I do try to take images of texture and things. I mean, it's always on your mind, even if you're not in the studio working. And the
right.
other problem that I have, it's not a problem. I make a choice to be a clay artist. Once I start, and if I know I'm going out of town, I wanted it to be to a point where it's either drying out or it's already fired because that in between state, if you're gone too long, it'll over dry or it's a constant, when you can check your stuff every day when you're home. When you're not home, you can't check it and you risk putting the time and effort into a
Right.
thing and then ruining it when you come back because you didn't have it covered tightly or it was covered too tightly and it slumped or I've had all those things happen. So
Yeah. So you kind of have to babysit it.
you
It's
do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's well, it's awesome. And I love that you photograph your own work and stuff. That's like Patty showed us her little photo studio. So that was neat. Like yours literally is start to finish. Uh I mean, it's
Well,
awesome. It's
I
awesome.
it's for artists, I think it's so hard, the imaging part of it, because if you want to, like my work is out on my website, but if I it would be so cost prohibitive to have a
Mm,
professional photographer take a picture of every piece that I make so that I can put it on my website. And
right.
that was something I needed to learn how to do. And it took me many years and many failed attempts to get there. And I'm not sure I'm completely there, but I'm doing good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say
So,
so. I've seen
yeah. So that was important to me because like you said, we put such an investment in all of this. It just feels
Mhm.
like sometimes the money keeps going out and out and
Right.
out and out. And I just want to be able, and then the other thing is if it's the last minute and I got a piece ready to go to a show, I want to be able to take a picture of it before it goes to the show because then it might not be there
Mm-hmm.
anymore and then I've missed it. So it's about
Right.
control too.
Now, do you catalog your work like Catherine said, she started out on index cards and stuff like that. Do you catalog your work in some manner to keep track of, you know, what
I
you've
do.
made and
I have a spreadsheet that gives the year, the title, the medium, the dimensions, the cost, where it's located. So yes, and then if it's sold or hasn't sold, so that I can sort it and see what's left and what's not left. Of course,
Right.
like all systems, you have to keep up with it. But my output is not nearly as large as Catherine's. So I just don't get, I work slowly and I don't get that much work done. So it's a little bit easier. But yeah, but I have to have all that stuff if I'm going to put it on the website,
Right.
and you have to have the
Right.
images. And then I have all of my images are kept pretty organized in my portfolio folder on my computer, um, by series and then by title. And then, yeah, I try to keep it pretty together so I can find things when I need them.
Hey, and Lisa,
Absolutely.
where do you keep your artwork?
It's in that room. It's all boxed up.
Okay.
I do that so it doesn't get dusty. Um, yeah, it's usually all bubble wrapped and in those boxes in the studio. And the plastic tubs are the ones I usually bring to a show if I'm going to a show. And then much older work is in cardboard boxes way at the top. And it's heavy, so the all of those shelves, the brackets are in actual wood, so they're all in studs so that they can hold the weight of the work because the boxes can get heavy.
And I'm assuming you have some way that you know which box
Pieces.
or bin is in.
um, there was a time I would put the titles out, but then I would go to a show and then I love my husband dearly, but when it's time to pack up, he's like, come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on, get, come on. And then it never gets back in the box it came in. So I stopped doing that. But I don't, my number of sculptures are finite. So I probably have to look through 6 to 8 boxes to find what I want. And because I put them away, I kind of have an idea. And because they're clear, sometimes I can, sort of figure out what's there. But no, I'm not that organized. I want to be. Like I said, the storeroom is always, I want to be better, and I'm not.
It looked pretty nice to me. And I went and grabbed this. I wanted to find, um, so that's the
Oh,
piece I got from Lisa. I love it. And then
I,
Catherine, I went to find your books because I have all three of your books. And I have so many books and so many different shelves I couldn't find. But yes, I have all three of your books too. So it's I think everybody here, I've got artwork from everybody. I've gotten note cards from Barbara. Wanda has done incredible custom sculpture. That's just gorgeous. And then Patty.
Hey, I do have
I mean,
I have a piece of Lisa's. I do have one of Lisa's sculptures.
yeah,
I
they're
won
beautiful.
this at the auction at ArtSmart last year.
Hey.
And Lisa, she sits on my fireplace mantle where I have like all of my favorite stuff.
oh,
So
that's so sweet.
she's a real beauty, gorgeous texture. And then I love, so she was saying how she has the felt. She puts like a piece of felt on the bottom of the work.
Yeah, I never
So
want my work to scratch anybody's. Even though I sand it, I try to go the extra just in case. But
I love the organic feel of that piece that you got, Patty. I mean, that looked like it just an earth woman just come right out of the roots of a tree and you know, very cool. Very cool.
yeah, it's interesting to see
Well,
the progress of how things have changed.
yeah.
I thought that
Well, either
oh, sorry. I just was going to
no, go,
comment about the fact that I love the fact that we all love texture and we use it in a
mm,
different way. And it is
yeah.
so appealing, isn't it? I mean, I
Mhm.
enjoyed what you showed, Kim, and also Lisa's her samples. I mean, even that the different types of clay and how to put them in the kiln and all that kind of thing is just amazing. You can build like a tower on the inside of the
Yeah.
kilns, and yes, and wait to see how they come out is just so much fun when you open the kiln.
It's always a surprise, good or bad.
I do have a question for you, Lisa, because you said something that made me think differently. Um, you showed like a shelf of glazes or whatever, but then you showed stains. So are glazes like a base liquid and then you add your coloring to it, or how does that work?
So yes, well, yes, many glazes start and they're either clear or a white milky color, and you can add colorants to them like a powdered stain. I also use them so over on a lot of the work that I had done recently, I wasn't using it as a glaze, but I was using it more mixed with water to create a wash. So these, can you see it? These are all stains that are, what is going on with the light? There
Will
we go.
you unblur your background, Lisa?
It is, I think. Let me see. It's not blurred, I don't think. No, because now it's blurred.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it must just be the camera. But anyway,
Like your
they're
camera.
just washed on, and it's the stain mixed with water and a couple of other ingredients. And I'm kind of dripping and putting them on the piece after it's been fired the second time so that it doesn't absorb all the way in. And I'm kind of treating it like a watercolor. So yeah, the stains
Okay.
can be used in
So your
multiple ways.
okay, so your colors aren't I mean they might be different from one time to the next.
They could be, yes.
Okay.
Depending on
All right.
how thin it is, how I applied it. Yeah, there's no yeah. So
Yeah.
this right
Yep,
here is a gray stain that I was using, stain with a wash that I was using to color some clouds. Um,
Mm.
and it seeps into the textures because it's so liquidy, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Does anybody have any questions for these ladies? This has been fun. I've learned a lot. I've seen some beautiful pieces and some beautiful spaces. It's very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Well, we appreciate you, Kim and Wanda, for giving us the opportunity
Absolutely.
and keeping
Absolutely.
us organized.
We're well, and we're glad for Best Missouri Hands that we're able to put on such events like this. So this has been recorded, and like I said, it will go up on our YouTube channel. Once I get it up there, I'll post it on the members only page so that you can share it out to your friends and stuff if you like. And I'll put information in there, like Catherine's upcoming shows and everything. So if there's anything else you want added, get a hold of me, um, and I will make sure it goes in there. So appreciate everybody being here today. If there's any last comments or questions,
I
y'all
just
did wonderful.
I just want to tell everybody again, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
All right, ladies,
Enjoy the
appreciate
beautiful
you being
day.
here.